All right.
How do you do you say insurance or insurance?
Insurance. Accent on the second syllable.
I'm from the South. We say umbrella. We say insurance.
Say this word. C-E-M-E-N-T.
Cement.
Yeah, see? Yeah. You sound like Jethro Bodine. That's what the Beverly Hillbillies call it.
Well, guess what?
The cement pond.
Well, guess what? If we had won, you'd be talking like me.
That's it. And you didn't, and take down the damn flag. All right, let's go to the phone right now. We're going phone or Skype? All right, let's go to the phone right now and bring in Terez Paylor. He is the Chiefs beat writer for the Kansas City Star. Terez, welcome to the show.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
We're doing all right, Terez. How do you pronounce C-E-M-E-N-T?
Cement.
There you go. You're a real American. All right, Terez. Terez, the reason we wanted you on, I found this very interesting. Jamaal Charles the other day came out and said,
"Well, we want him on because he's really good. He knows what he's doing." You didn't call him to have him on to talk about one silly question. Okay, but go ahead.
We're going to talk about the Chiefs as a whole, but this one thing prompted us to go to somebody from the Kansas City Star and Terez Paylor in particular.
We want somebody good from Kansas City.
Terez, we're going to get around to the interview any moment now, I promise you. Terez, Jamaal Charles came out the other day and said, teams are focusing on me so much as the Kansas City Chiefs running back that I feel like I'm the LeBron James of the NFL. Teams are trying to stop me. Now, a lot of people would say, really? Come on, LeBron James, that's a little over the top. But do you think Jamaal Charles made a fair assessment of himself and his place, not just with the Chiefs, but in this league?
Yeah, that was one of those times where something gets spread on Twitter and Facebook or whatever, and people don't actually read the story where there's context and stuff. He said that, number one, he said sometimes he feels that way, but he feels that way because of the number of things he can do on the field, right? So he said the context of it was, sometimes the amount of things I can do on the field, I feel like I'm the LeBron James of football. So it was a reference more to his all-around game. And if you actually look at Jamaal Charles as a running back runner, right? No matter how you feel about, how where he has left on his tires, in his prime, he's an elite runner, but he also catches the ball out of the backfield, and he's a very willing blocker. So there's really not anything in the Chiefs' offense that they don't ask him to do. So in that sense, it made sense. I mean, if you want to look at it from the big picture point of view, right? Like LeBron, probably one of the greatest athletes ever, like an iconic guy, has 2 titles. Right, but if you look at it in the way that he said it, I know what he's talking about.
Sure, and this is what I don't have any problem with what he said because he has been their offense. I will tell you that Les doesn't like the quarterback there at all.
Oh yeah, but I'm not alone there.
Yeah, but I would say that I'm going to say this though. Would you agree that if Alex Smith is going to throw the ball down the field and be more than a manager, that opens up things for
Jamaal Charles?
Yeah. That if he could get some help, if they throw to a touchdown pass to a wide receiver, or if they go down the field a little bit, teams aren't packing the box. They aren't waiting for those 6- and 7-yard passes.
Well, that's one of the beauties of Jamaal. Teams know that Alex Smith doesn't throw downfield well. They're focusing on Jamaal Charles, and he's still doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not asking you.
Yes.
You're here every day. I want to ask a guy who's an expert. Does Alex Smith, I guess, let me try it again, unless maybe we'll stay out of this.
Shut up.
Does Alex Smith have to open up his game some in order for Jamaal to be what he's talking about?
I think in Jamaal's prime, when he was 27 or 26, it wouldn't really matter who they put out there quarterback. He was going to kind of get his. But now he's 28. He's been banged up a little more now. Yeah, I think it's going to matter because I think starting the season, teams are going to say, all right, we're going to take away 25. And then they'd be smart to say, all right, we're going to take away 87, who's Kelsey.
Yeah.
And Charles, and Smith's favorite option over the middle. I think teams will be smart to say, okay, Alex, you've got Jeremy Maclin. Prove you know how to use them. Beat us up top. Here's some 2-deep coverage. Here's single high. Throw in that window up top and see if you can handle it. Because, toward the end of last year, teams were really – they were pressing the receivers and, they were really kind of mucking things up within the 10 yards of the line of scrimmage with a lot of guys. They didn't think they'd go downfield. So, yeah, I think Alex has to prove he can do that. But the good news for the Chiefs is that, they've got weapons around him and a really good play caller. So, like, there's things that should be open there. And it's going to come down to the offensive line, guys. Like,
well, I was going to say that.
People crush him, but
sure.
The offensive line was not good last year.
Yeah, there are questions about the offensive line in Denver, and equally seems to be the sticking point in Kansas City offensively is whether or not that offensive line is going to be any better than it was last year. Do you believe it will be? Well, it can't be any worse, I would guess.
I mean, if you look at the tape of the Chiefs offense last year, which I do, because you have that stuff you have that stuff available now. You should look at it. I mean, the play they got at the guard positions last year was pretty bad, right? I mean, Mike McGlynn. I don't know if you guys believe in Pro Football Focus, but their grades do reflect generally what I see. He finished with like a -32, and I don't think that's harsh at all. I mean, that's kind of what he was. He was a very bad player at left guard, and they're going to replace him with Ben Grubbs, who he was a Pro Bowl guy 2 years ago, and his grade fell to 0.2 or something last year, but that's still like a league average grade, and that's going to stop a lot of plays from getting busted up before they even get started like they did last year. And then at the other guard, you got Zach Fulton, who was a young guy, a rookie, but they brought in guys that might be able to replace him. So that's the thing. Like, they got to protect the interior to keep guys from coming at Alex, and there's a chance it can happen. But we don't know if it will. Like, that offensive line has a lot to prove.
We do believe in Pro Football Focus. I came down hard on them last year till we interviewed them, and they're out of England, and I thought, what the hell do they know about football? But they actually work at it harder than any of us do. So, yeah, I agree with you that I put a lot of attention on Pro Football Focus now. Let's turn to the defense. First of all, before we get to your defense, or the defense in Kansas City, the Broncos picked up a guy that's got to be pretty important to them based on one of their players being out for 4 games, and another free agent they picked up might not be on this roster all year long. Tell us about a guy who didn't have a very good year in Kansas City last year.
What was that, Vance Walker?
Vance Walker.
Vance Walker, yeah. Yeah, you know what? I actually liked him. I thought when they signed him, he was going to be able to help him because he's an upfield guy, right? Gets off the ball okay.
Yeah.
Got a little power to him. He's I watched his film from 2013 in Oakland, and I thought he wore down toward the end of the year. I think he was hurt. He had a concussion or something. But his first 8 games, he was doing stuff. I think Vance Walker can play, and he never really got an opportunity to do a whole lot here. They settle into their rotation, and the Chiefs are pretty. They believe in not seniority, but if a guy's been here for a while, they give that guy the first crack at the job. So he really didn't contribute as much as I thought he could. I think the guy's a solid, decent football player. I think he's going to be fine in Denver, and he should actually be motivated to play pretty well because he's playing for money, right? He signed like a 1-year deal or something. Is that right? Yeah, he should be playing for money, so he could actually end up having an okay year too.
Hey, Terez, last thing about the Chiefs. Justin Houston, $101 million deal, $52.5 million guaranteed, second highest paid defensive player in the game right now. Is Justin Houston the kind of guy who can handle that?
Yeah, he's got a good work ethic, man. I mean, okay, so when he came here last year for camp, his cap number was $1.4 million, so he was really playing for money, and he was playing under the threat of getting hurt and all that, and he ended up having his best season. So, okay. He had a contract, great year and a contract year. People had that, but the thing was, while preparing for that season, we always saw him working extra after during practice on these bags, just kind of working on hand placement and movement and speed. And now he just got that contract, and every day after practice, we still see him doing the same thing. Even when he was holding out, he would post Instagram photos of him lifting weights, an absurd amount of weight. This guy believes in working. And this is actually a good team. Tom Bahali, those guys are buddies. Eric Berry, he's buddies with him too. This is a good team for him. He doesn't want to let those guys down. I think he's gonna have another great year.
And we're really glad Berry's back. I'm so happy about
nice story.
I hope he has a great year. So
yeah, that was a neat story, right?
Yeah.
Not one national guy was here for that either, man. You know, isn't that crazy? Like, that was such an amazing story. Like, no one really expected him to be back so soon. And
well,
on the day he held his press conference, it was just us.
Yeah, well, that is odd because, I mean, you said nobody expected him back that soon. A lot of people expect him never to come back.
Yeah, and a Pro Bowl safety, too.
That is
it's a testament to the power of will. You know, if you really want to do something, you can do it.
Yeah. Hey,
and medicine and all that.
Terez, really appreciate your time. I have a feeling we're going to be, if you're all right with it, tapping you during the season, getting your perspective on the Chiefs again.
Yeah, sure. I enjoyed this interview. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks,
we
Terez.
appreciate it. Thank you.
He is Terez Paylor. He is the Chiefs beat writer for the Kansas City Star. And all live guests brought to you by Papa John's, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rockies. The day after every Rockies win, get 50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com. Use the promo code ROXWIN, ROXWIN.